stage. His name is Jack Sheedy. Because you are married to the, let's make sure I get this right, the Poet Laureate of Connecticut. She's going to be up here soon. So your official title here is the husband of the Poet Laureate of Connecticut. Ladies and gentlemen, the person that made this all possible, Jack Sheedy. Come on up.
One slight correction, the beat poet. Thank you. Speaking of plugs, I'm going to get mine out of the way right away. My only plug is I have 3 books. One is called The Sting of the Heat Bug, one is called Magical Acts in 2 Suitcases, and my latest book, a couple years old, is The Wanting Place. It's a book of poems. You can find them on my website, jacksheedy.com. I have recently written a new memoir, and its working title is In My Father's Tire Tracks. It is not published yet. It will be published next year. I hope within 6 months it will be out, available to buy. So another plug, a pre-plug. So I'm going to read the very first chapter and see if that hooks you into wanting to buy the book. This is a test. This is a book about, I have to say a little bit about what the book is about. In 1959, my father answered a classified ad from Janus Motors in Hartford, asking for somebody to drive a brand new 1960 Thunderbird across the country to another Ford dealership in Studio City right outside of Hollywood. Dad said, okay, a free ride. I get to visit my sister in Los Angeles, 6 miles away from the dealership. And yeah, I'll do it. But it was 1959, it was December, and it kind of bothered the family because we didn't know if he'd come home safely and come home in time for Christmas. So, the first chapter is called Gravel, 1969. I'm going to put my glasses on. I promise this should be 3 minutes. I've already taken 2. Gravel, 1969. It was my turn at the wheel, and somewhere on a narrow 2-lane road in Ohio, I swerved right to avoid a squirrel. And the red Volvo sports car's passenger side rear tire spun on loose gravel on the shoulder at 70 miles an hour and caused us to boomerang back onto the road and into the lane of an oncoming truck that was traveling as fast as we were. I felt a gentle hand on my right arm. Jack, ease back into your lane, my father said, as calmly as he could, because perhaps knowing that staying calm was the best chance to keep his 23-year-old son from making the wrong choice, yanking the steering wheel and losing control again, or slamming on the brakes, or, worst choice of all, freezing from fear and turning both of us and the truck driver into grim headlines in tomorrow's Columbus Dispatch. It was the first and last long road trip I took with my father. We made it safely to our destination, my college campus in Superior, Wisconsin. But I have been haunted by that close call of an early September day in 1969 ever since. Whenever I felt the call of the open road, I remembered the sound of gravel hitting the underside of Dad's car, how the right side sank into the unfinished shoulder, how the car jerked itself back onto the road as if propelled from a cannon, how I somehow guided that 4-wheeled missile back onto a safe trajectory, how the truck air-horned past us in the eastbound lane as we barreled west into Indiana. We stopped at the nearest gas station, filled the tank, and switched seats. It was Dad's turn at the wheel, and he navigated that spunky red car safely to the next motel on our 3-day journey to northern Wisconsin. This happened almost 10 years after Dad had made his solo road trip from Connecticut to California, a trip he talked about for the rest of his life. I always wondered why he did such a thing, what he thought about while driving or while lodging in strange motels, how he could have been so sure he would complete the trip safely and return to his family before Christmas. Would you do that again? I asked him as we settled into a neon motel outside of Fort Wayne. In a heartbeat, he said. It didn't occur to me to ask why, but since that trip with Dad, I knew I would never stop wondering until I tried it myself. In November 2021, it was once again my turn at the wheel. Thank you.